Welcome to Meet the Candidates 2023, a voter education program brought to you by the Shakopee Chamber of Commerce. My name is Tim Zunker, and I'm the president with the Shakopee Chamber and Visitors Bureau. Our hope is that these candidate interviews and profiles will help you, the voter, understand your choices when it comes to the 2023 special election for Shakopee City Council. We ask voters to arm themselves with the information necessary to make educated choices and to make casting your vote a priority. Please visit the Shakopee Chamber website at shakopee.org to find out more information about the upcoming special election for Shakopee City Council. Now I'd like to introduce Nathan Dahl, who is running for the special election for Shakopee City Council. Nathan, thank you for joining me today. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you for putting this on again. It's a great resource to help voters make a great informed decision, and I really appreciate the opportunity. My name is Nathan Dahl. I was a candidate in the 2022 City Council election here, and I didn't feel like our work was done. I feel like we have a tremendous opportunity to shape the future of our community here in Shakopee and look forward to getting there.
Great. Thanks, Nathan. Let's get into the questions. So tell us a little, you kind of touched on it, but tell us a little bit more about why you were running for City Council.
Yeah. So I'm running for City Council because Shakopee is a wonderful place, and I'd like to work to keep it that way. I think Shakopee needs a new generation of leadership, and that more accurately reflects the demographics of our town. And what I'm really hoping to do is reaffirm business freedom in town and get government overreach out of the business sector. Unfortunately, that's been the case right now with our city council, picking winners and losers, and I don't think that's the duty of our local government. In addition, I'd like to work to hold the line on our taxes and debt to protect our neighbors and responsibly manage growth here in town.
Great. Thanks, Nathan. What skills and experience would you bring to the city council?
So professionally, I work in the energy industry, and my work consists of working with local units of government all across the state of Minnesota. And what I do specifically is advocate for an all-the-above energy future to solve Minnesota's energy demand. And so what that means is anything that the free market says is the most affordable and most efficient form of energy should have a seat at the table, because that will create a resilient energy grid, it'll create a reliable energy grid, and it'll decrease our energy bills. And I think that's imperative. In addition, I do believe I have a talent for listening, and I think that's something that's vastly missing right now from our government. And I think if politicians spent a little more time listening instead of talking and grandstanding, our state, our community, and our country would probably be in a better position.
Great. Thanks, Nathan. What have you done in the past to positively impact the city of Shakopee?
So I make an effort to keep my neighborhood clean. And so every spring I go out and pick up trash. I go into the storm drains. I go into the berms where the ducks like to live and a lot of wildlife is. And unfortunately, there's a lot of trash that's unearthed by the melting snow, and it's really easy to fill up a garbage bag full of trash. And while that's a small thing, I think that's something anybody could do to make a positive difference in our community. In addition, I've volunteered for CAP Agency's food distribution program in the past, especially with the rate of inflation nowadays and how expensive things are at the grocery store. This is a vital thing for many families that is essentially under the radar, and I think I could do a better job at bringing that to light as well. And then lastly, I have served on the Scott County absentee ballot board to ensure that we do have free and fair elections. And I want to assure the residents of Shakopee that indeed that is a very secure process, and that you should find solace knowing that when you mail your ballot into Scott County here in Shakopee, it will be counted and it will be fairly judged.
Great. Thank you, Nathan. What is your opinion of tax increment financing and its use in bringing economic development projects to Shakopee?
So that's a very controversial subject. So I'm a firm believer in the free market, and I don't think that we should be subsidizing multi-billion and multi-billion-dollar companies to come to Shakopee. I mean, let's look where we are. We're right off of the 169 corridor. It's already a desirable location. We're not in the middle of nowhere. People already see a positive return on investment in coming into Shakopee and setting up shop. So I don't think Shakopee taxpayers need to be footing the bill for wealthy entrepreneurs. And just on the topic of that, I think we've also got to take a look at what's called the Fiscal Disparity Program. The Fiscal Disparity Program is a revenue sharing program with all cities in the 7-county metro area. And in 2022, Shakopee paid over $13 million into this program that went into this pool, and that's distributed to different communities throughout the 7-county metro area. Now, Shakopee only got about $7 million of that back. So Shakopee's net loss was $6 million that we could have had invested right here in town. And so just to put that into perspective, Shakopee pays more than these cities combined. Not combined, but just more than them. Chanhassen, Chaska, Apple Valley, Burnsville, Lakeville, Wayzata, Prior Lake, and Savage. The top city that takes the most amount of money from this program is the city of St. Paul. I don't think that Shakopee tax dollars need to go to any of those other communities, especially St. Paul. I think it's better served right here in Shakopee. And while it's not something that can be solved by city action, I seek to work with our state leaders to find solutions.
Great. Thank you, Nathan. Expanding on economic development, what role should the city of Shakopee have in attracting new businesses to Shakopee or helping existing businesses expand?
The best thing that the city council can do is get out of the way. I am a firm believer that you, Tim, and the Chamber of Commerce know how best to set up and run businesses. It's been really disheartening for me because I've talked with many business owners who have been impacted by city action, who have seen their sales cut in half, who are threatened with closure, all because of 3 people on a city council said. And it's just that ruins livelihoods. And I cannot support something like that a local unit of government says your business is valid, but yours is not valid. It's been very hard for me to hear those struggles that people are currently facing. And guess what happens when those businesses close? They're no longer paying taxes. So guess who gets to pay that lost tax to supplement that? That'd be me, that'd be you, that'd be the viewers at home, that'd be the existing businesses that are still around. And so the best thing that the city council can do is let businesses flourish on their own.
Great. Thank you, Nathan. What do you see as the most important issues facing Shakopee, and what will you do to address them?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing right now is responsibly managing our growth. And so Shakopee continues to explode in terms of development, and I don't think that's a bad thing. In fact, it's a good thing. But we have to ensure that our existing taxpayers and residents are protected. We've got to ensure that development doesn't come at the detriment of Shakopee, because growth for the sake of growth is unmanageable, and it can lead to bad actors coming into town. And as I mentioned earlier, we shouldn't be subsidizing multimillionaires to prop up their pet project. If they want to build in Shakopee, they should put their money where their mouth is and foot the bill. And I look forward to taking this challenge head on the city council.
Great. Thank you, Nathan. And in your opinion, should city taxes be reduced? And if so, how should spending be reduced to balance the budget?
Yeah, so in principle, yes, of course, I think city taxes should be decreased because they've gone up consistently year over year with no sign of relief in the future. Some of our current city leaders like to say that we are decreasing our neighbors' tax burden because of the number of taxable units that are being created. Yes, no, that is absolutely true. But the city council is currently also in the business of decimating our local economy through action. Like I mentioned earlier, there are businesses that are being strangled by action from the city council, and if they unfortunately go under, that lost tax revenue is going to be spread to everyone, like I mentioned earlier, the viewers at home, you and I, and the existing businesses. And so, in going back to that fiscal disparities program, that's $6 million. We have $6 million that we just throw into a black hole every year to give to St. Paul, to give to Wayzata, to give to Prior Lake. If that $6 million could be used so well here, we could invest in our infrastructure. We could even provide property tax decreases. And so that's a challenge, like I mentioned, that cannot be addressed exclusively by the city, but it will take leadership on the city council to work with our state leaders to do so. And I hope to do just that.
Great. Thank you, Nathan. And that is our question. So I'd like to give you the opportunity to give your closing statement and message to the voters.
Yes. Thank you again, Tim and Chamber of Commerce. I really appreciate the opportunity to be back here and share my vision for the city of Shakopee. So we get a choice in this special election. We can either stay with the status quo, which is subsidizing multimillionaires, which is consistent tax increases, which is decimating our local economy, or we can forge a fresh future, one that responsibly addresses growth in town, one that responsibly addresses taxation, one that makes wealthy entrepreneurs pay their own money out of pocket. And I want to be that person to help find the solution. And not everything is going to be figured out just by talking, and we're going to have to work together, and that's part of life. And I look forward to finding these solutions and working hard for the citizens of Shakopee on the City Council. Again, my name is Nathan Dull, and I humbly ask for your vote on April 11th for the Shakopee City Council special election.
Great. Thanks, Nathan. The views expressed in these interviews are those of the candidates, not those of the Chamber and Visitors Bureau. The Chamber is sponsoring these interviews as a service to the community and has gone to great lengths to ensure the objectivity. The Chamber does not endorse any candidate, but seeks to provide you, the citizens, and the voters of Shakopee with the information you need to make an informed choice. The Shakopee Chamber and Visitors Bureau extends a sincere thank you to the candidates. Thank you again, Nathan. We appreciate your time and your service to our community by running for office. You're performing an important service to us all. Again, thank you for joining us for this edition of Meet the Candidates 2023. Thanks, Nathan.
Thank you, Tim.